Morning, Wednesday, October 16th. Market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. We start out with the indexes, we go to futures, and sometimes I go to cycles or crypto or sectors or forex, options, a variety of other topics. So let's start with the indexes, the E-mini. Almost had some reversals yesterday, not quite. We're rallying a little bit this morning, 15, nothing big. Translates to a point and a half or so in the spider. No big deal. I do expect this to continue to work lower. I'm still looking for the October lows. Since 1993, there's only been 3 years when we haven't had a significant buying opportunity during the month of October. That implies, and just take a look at the last few years of October, see for yourself. That implies that at a very bare minimum, we should be going down to the lows of 57.21 on the E-mini to match the early October lows. But that's not really good enough. I really want to go at least down to 54.70, the lows in early September. That'd be okay. But considering the history of the October lows, coming down to approximately 52.30 would be, frankly, a lot more likely. And I just can't rule out something even lower than that. Now, obviously, something significant has to happen in the interim between now and the end of October in order for that large a break to take place. I don't have any idea what it is, or, we can have educated guesses, but that's what they are, guesses. Let's take a look at the short-term data. The 1-minute chart on the E-mini, rallying at the moment, high and last for the session. Didn't make it lower low. Inside trading range day, therefore, doji doesn't mean too much. The spider, doji, inside trading range. Now, yesterday, the spider closed a gap that occurred on Monday that could go down as an exhaustion gap. There's nothing wrong with it still being called that. If we continue to work lower, it's the last gasp going up, an exhaustion bullish gap. So, almost a bearish engulfing, overbought conditions. Last couple of days, just a little bit of a bounce. And you look at the spider 1-minute data, not much going on, a little bit of a rising bottoms, flat top. That's a flat top right triangle. Maybe a little bit more rally from here because of the pattern. Next, QQQ, almost bearish engulfing. And we do have one, we're going to get to it in a minute, yesterday. So lower lows, lower on the day. This is acting just fine as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, I'm looking for a move down to 477, but that's not good enough. I really want to see this come down to 450, and I'm not ruling out significantly lower than that 425 on the QQQ. Now, there's the data for 1 minute on the QQQ, and I'll squish it more so you can see we really haven't come down a lot. New lows for just a few days. Need to start making lower lows to start causing me to be a lot more convinced that this year the October lows are going to happen again. There's no guarantee. It may not. It's just the track record of it has such a good history. NASDAQ futures contract broke a bear trend line for 1 day, basically, and then flip-flopped yesterday right back down below the trend line, and now is trading a little bit lower and has a minor new low. I want it to break below 19,816, and the October low should be at least 18,655-ish, and I'm not ruling out 17,620. So the two lows, one in early September, one in early August, are the two important lows to see if we can get down there and what happens next, especially if it's in October. So we've got the 1 minute data for the NASDAQ. And again, nothing's happening here at the moment that causing me to go scream bloody murder to you guys, except I think with mild amount of evidence that we may have turned down. I'm not super convinced about that at this point. We did have an official ER red engulfing sell signal yesterday. That means the custom RSI got high enough, and we have a custom engulfing candlestick that is just almost exactly like the traditional candlestick, just a little variation, and it happened. Now, this is the signal that has caused for a bullish one, these two, that bull move. This short-term bear move for a few days worked very nicely. That one didn't work. That's the top of the market for weeks. That's the bottom of the market for weeks. That's the top of the market for weeks. So when you see red, think bearish. When you see green, think bullish. Of course, that's way oversimplified. Here's the 1 minute data for the YM. Our current ER3 short yesterday, 7:08 a.m., as well as our scalp ER3, and that is not yesterday. I'm sorry, that's today. Yep, and we are short for the overnight version of ER3 and for the scalp version of ER3 at the moment. So our stops, great. Don't see anything wrong here, except, of course, they're a little bit of a loss momentarily. But if we break down below 43,235, we'll probably get back to approximately break even, and then the lines will change to green when you have a profit, they're red when you have a loss. So I really am looking for a break here real soon. Next, the Russell overbought at resistance, almost the exact same high that we had back on September 19th. It's prime target for starting to work its way back down because of the resistance area and the fact that it's also overbought. One of my favorite combinations, at resistance and overbought. All we need now is a bearish engulfing, and I'll get a signal. Next, Russell, 1 minute, starting to break down just a little bit. Now, interest rate futures have been extremely good to me. It was back on September 24, 25th when I drew this yellow line, and that was here. So I was predicting with the yellow line that the market would start to come down into the square, which is October, side to side, beginning of October, end of October. Now, we did come into October, so the time frame has been good. My downside objective was in the ballpark of around 118 or so, and we got down to 1913-ish. Oversold, rallied yesterday and a bit today. I'm not thoroughly convinced that this is going to be an important low. I think we're going to come down and test that low, if not make another new low, excuse me, before the month of October is over. But I do believe that we're not far away in time and price from turning up for a very, very big, maybe multi-year bull market. And the underlying reasons for that is this 2-year head and shoulder bottom. One shoulder, two shoulders. The head of the formation again in October of 23. The first shoulder was October of 22. Now October of 24, we have come down. We've dropped off enough to consider it to be the last shoulder low. There's the first shoulder here, and your second and last here. So really all we need to do is start to head north from here. We could fiddle around a little bit. We could make a minor new low, and it would last maybe a week or three at the very most. But generally, we should be, could be, might be in the process of making that last shoulder low and starting to head north for a very big long-term bull market. 10-year notes. We are still short. Well, actually, we just got bumped out this morning. How about that? We sold basically the high day on a double top. The downside objective on the double top is around 110.5. But there was also a small head and shoulder top during the double top formation. That downside objective was 112.5, and we have exceeded that. So it worked. Great. Very quickly, I might add, taking about 2.5 days to do the job. This is your breakout date on October 3. For almost all of the objective was fulfilled. And on the 5th, 7th, on the 7th, it did get down to the minimum objective. So now we're out. A couple of great trades. Excellent. What can I say? I think it may be bottoming out. It didn't get quite as low as I wanted, but it did get into October. We'll see how this pans out in the next, well, obviously 2-3 weeks. Okay, crude oil. All three, crude, heat, natural gas, have bearish engulfings approximately a week ago. All three are working very, very well. I may have made an adjustment on my stop so that it either sped up or slowed down in order to keep the trades and increase my profit that's locked in. Now we came up very, very, very close to the stop on today's rally high, but it's flip-flopped back down to slightly lower. We shorted it here, 75.50-ish on the 10th of October. The signal was 2 days earlier. The rally on the 10th of October was back up to have a new short because of ER3 strategy. ER1 trades were either scalp or an overnight that lasted only 1 day. Looks like a very small loss. And I don't have on the screen the ER3 scalp, which probably lost a very small amount. But the overnight has successfully, and we're still in the trade, locked in a really great profit. Made the whole signal worthwhile. And heating oil. Another bearish engulfing on the high day exactly. 2 days later, retracement allowed us to get short on the trigger price for the ER3. We are still short. I believe I made an adjustment on my trailing stop this morning. Not hit, lower on the day, making a little bit more money at the moment. Looking great. And natural gas, we are also short from the high day. There was no rally in order to get short within 3 days after the official signal day. So there's no ER3 scalp or overnight trade. We just missed it. But ER1 overnight has been short, and we still are. And now we're oversold. I would, and I believe I did this morning, tighten up the stop more so that I'm locking in a bigger profit because I don't like being oversold and still short. And now I'm starting to look for bottoming type of price action. I'll probably get stopped out of my short very soon, taking a really great profit. I don't know exactly how much yet. I think we're close to turning back up. Next, gold, sell signal dropped off for three or 4 days. Great. Bullish engulfing at the bottom, but not a signal because we weren't oversold. We got a rally out of it. Today, we're getting close to a new high for the trend. Gold is really acting very steady, very strong for longer term time frames. I think it's going to make a new high. Yeah, I think it's going to make a new high. The downside correction held, bullish engulfing at the bottom of the break. Not too much to go off of, but the trend is your friend, and I think it's going to make a new high. I'm not really feeling great about my commentaries on gold lately, so take it with a grain of salt. Silver, kind of the same thing here. I thought I had something bearish developing for the last couple, 3 days, but new highs today by this amount kills that idea. Now we're not overbought, not oversold, no man's land, middle of a range for the last month or so. I don't know. I'm going to have to pass a little bit on silver here also. Obviously, the longer term trend is up. We did get a buy signal at the very bottom. That's great. August 8th, 24. Perfect. Not too many great signals in the silver lately. Last year, 2023, precious metals were just unbelievably great. Left and right, they were giving great signals and very profitable results in the precious metals last year. Now, platinum, nothing going on. Sideways movement from the early part of September when it started to get overbought against resistance. So I'm going to beg off on platinum also. All three precious metals, not quite very sure about. Copper, we're still short from a sell signal on the exact high day. We got another sell signal about a week later. We have almost today a new low for the trend down, like yesterday was, and a little bit of a bounce today, but it's a doji, so we're not doing anything particularly important. Trailing stop right here, no problems. I like what I see. I am expecting the support to get broken and for it to drop down into the ballpark of, say, below 4.1, period. Next, soybeans, oil meal, corn, wheat, cattle, and hogs. Now, oversold condition, not a new low. Too bad. Came close. If we had gotten below yesterday's lows, we would have a bullish engulfing green bar, at least during the rally earlier. But now we're right back down to the low of the day and down 7.5 for the beans, 7.5 cents. So looks like it could make a new low. Now that's going to cause a outside trading range in oversold condition, but the current tick, unless it rallies all the way back up to above yesterday's close, will not generate a bullish engulfing green ER buy signal. It has to have an outside trading range, bullish engulfing, and oversold conditions. Both are a little bit customized. I learned RSI from Wells Wilder himself, and stochastics from George Lane, and Bollinger Bands from John Bollinger, and percent R from Larry Williams, blah, blah, blah. So, I think it's close to bottoming out. Don't jump the gun. Don't buy yet, but I would get ready to. And if you're short, I would be tightening down my stops to protect a little bit more profit because I don't like being short when markets are oversold. They usually bottom out pretty soon. Oil, higher high today, stopped us out of our short. Profitable trade, not the best in the world. We were short for about 4 days for ER3. Currently down below where we're out. So I kind of wish we were still short. No change of opinion. Still think this thing is going to come down to probably 38.70-ish, testing the lows we made in August, September. Next is soybean meal. Lowest low for the move down yesterday, doji today, currently up a very small amount. Nothing happening of any consequence, but we are oversold for a couple of days now. So there's a possibility of a buy signal, but we haven't got one yet. All we need at this point is a bullish engulfing, and I'm not getting it. I don't always get them, obviously, but when we do, sometimes there's a high of the market like that, the bottom of the market like that. That was a bad signal. We got stopped out with a little loss. We always, always, always have a protective stop immediately upon getting into a trade, and it's 100% automated. I don't have to do anything. Make sure everything's running correctly and sit back and wait. Next, bearish engulfing in corn on October 8th. We're still short the ER1 overnight. Bearish engulfing caused a trigger for the next few days to be placed for a new short for ER3. And 2 days later, on October 10th, the high of the day was 2 ticks above our new short sale price, which we got filled at. And we have both ER1 overnight, ER3 overnight shorts. And we're still short, and we're get close to our stops on those 2 different strategy positions. So we'll see if we get bumped out or not. There'll be great trades if we do, or better maybe if the market doesn't stop us out and starts to come down even more. But I don't like being short. It's uncomfortable for me if we're oversold, which we are yesterday and today. So no surprise that we're getting a little rally today after being oversold starting yesterday. Next chart, wheat. Neutral. Maybe we've got a bullish engulfing at the moment. I can't, well, let's see. Yesterday's high was 6.75, and today we've got 6.5. No, we're missing 2 ticks. So if we have a new high by 2 ticks this morning, then it'll be an outside trading range, but still not a reversal per se, ER signal reversal, because we're not oversold. Just kind of at support. Basically, I'm still neutral to bearish in grains in general. But I think as time passes, we just might be building a bigger bottom of some sort, but I don't see it yet. It's not well enough developed, if we've got one in the first place. Neutral to bearish, looking for lower levels in wheat. Cattle. Sell signal didn't work. Next day, took a loss. That was a high day, unfortunately. We've been coming down a bit since. Right now, we're down a little, but it's a doji. We bounced off of some support yesterday, and that's better. Bounced, but it's not holding very well. I am slightly bearish here. Keep in mind the high of the rally the last few days is way up near the high of the move back in July. Yep, twice in July, double top. Worked very, very nicely. There's your measurement, minimum objective. Got there almost exactly and double bottomed out. The double bottom has an upside objective of right here. And guess what? On October 2nd, we reached the minimum upside objective on the double bottom. So here's a double top that worked really accurately, and here's a double bottom right after that that worked pretty well also. Come on. Next. Hogs. Big rally today, back up to resistance, not overbought. I still think it's in the process of topping out, but I'm not getting a signal yet. Holding off for any trade at the moment. See what happens here. And back to the E-mini. Up 13 or 1.3 spider. Nothing particularly super important. The YM, we're still in our 2 trades. A little bit of a loss at the moment. Coming back slightly. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.